Hello everyone, welcome back to Fruition Garden, and if this is your first time here, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and I hope that you enjoy this video. And if you do enjoy it, I hope that you all like, comment, share, and subscribe. So today I'm going to just be giving a fall update. I planned on harvesting my ginger. However, I saw that in the forecast we're gonna have 70-degree days pretty much all this week. So I was really happy to hear that, because we have been getting some pretty cold days and some pretty cool nights. We've had nights in the 50s and even the high 40s. So the ginger has taken a little bit of a hit from that, and we got some yellowing of the leaves and stuff. But since we're gonna get some warm days, I think I'll give it another week before I harvest these, because I want the ginger to have as much time as possible to grow before I harvest it. Here's the other ginger. Ginger definitely loves warm weather, actually like tropical weather. So it's definitely pretty chilly for ginger. However, I think we have a little microclimate here because of all of the wood chips that we have all along this area. It just helps to make the overall temperature of the ground warmer and keeps it warm longer into the season. Not only is it providing a continuous source of nutrients to the soil as it breaks down, but it also is warming up the ground so that we have a longer growing season and helping to hold in moisture every time it rains, because fall can get pretty dry. So really glad we have that, and I think that's why my ginger is still doing very well. Look at this little bit of ginger poking out of the soil. Get a little sneak peek of how it looks. I'm going to cover it back up though, so it won't be exposed. So I'm very excited to harvest this ginger, but I'm also trying to leave it in the ground for as long as possible so we can get the very best results. I also have random carrots that are coming up here in this bed. I hope that I can get some good sized carrots from that. Over here I have a bunch of peas that I just planted all along this trellis. I'm not sure if we're gonna actually get peas. I planted everything very late this season. I had hoped to be a little bit more organized in the way that I did my fall garden. However, life happened and I was not able to be as intentional as I hoped to be. But I'm so glad that we still have stuff coming up, and I did still get seeds in the ground, and hopefully we can get some peas from this, because peas are cool weather crops, although it still is a little late to be planting them. And they don't mind light frosts, they just can't handle continuous frost back to back. So hopefully we get a couple peas before that happens, so we'll see. And then on the other side I have green beans. I definitely planted way too late. Typically all of my green beans around this time of the season will be full grown and putting out their last succession of green beans. However, these, as you can see, are very early in their life cycle. They're still babies, and I don't know if they're gonna even make it to maturity and if I'm gonna get any green beans. But even if I don't, all legumes, peas included, are really great for the soil. So they will provide nitrogen to my soil, because they actually harvest nitrogen from the air. As the plant performs photosynthesis, it stores sugars in those nodes, and the bacteria is able to feed off of those sugars, and in return the bacteria is able to convert the nitrogen that has been drawn from the air from the plant into a usable resource for the plant to utilize, which helps it stay nice and green and healthy as it grows. So it's a very beautiful symbiotic relationship, and like I said, even if we don't get any peas, it's still a win-win situation, because this will provide lots of nitrogen to the soil. So when these are done growing, I will be chopping them down at the stem, but I will definitely leave all of the roots in the ground so that that relationship can continue. Same exact thing with the peas. They also store nitrogen in their roots, feed the bacteria, and then the bacteria convert that nitrogen into a usable resource for the plants to use. That is just so amazing, the way everything works together to benefit one another. And then moving over here, I have a bunch of, I think these are all cabbage, broccoli, and cauliflower seeds. Honestly, these seeds were very old and I just wanted to see if they were still viable. So I threw a bunch of them into the soil. I don't know if we're gonna get any vegetables from it because, again, it's pretty late in the season. However, these plants as well are beneficial for the soil. They can be used as green manure, and they also soften up the soil naturally so that it can be nice and ready for planting, and it makes it easier for the roots of all the plants that you grow in that area to be able to adequately reach down into the soil for the nutrients that they need because it's softer. So these are really great to plant anyway, even if we don't get any actual vegetables from them. And also it lets me know that my seed packets that are a little on the older side are still viable and the seeds are still good. So that is awesome. And then over on this side, I've got some beet seeds that I threw all along here. Hopefully we'll get some beets. We've got some hibiscus flower coming on. I don't have much experience growing hibiscus flower, so I'm kind of learning as I go along, and it's a really, really cool experience. I think the plant is so beautiful, and from my understanding, you can use this part of the plant as well as the leaves to make medicine and tea and things like that. So hibiscus actually helps to lower blood pressure and is also very high in antioxidants, which makes it really great for reducing the growth of bacteria and cancer cells in the body and supporting the heart and the liver. So this is an amazing medicinal plant to grow. Pretty cool to grow your own medicine in your own backyard. Ginger is the same way, anti-inflammatory, promotes digestive health, and also helps to improve circulation. I've actually made a tea with ginger and hibiscus together, and it was an excellent combination. So good. You can add a little honey into it, stevia leaves in it because they have a natural sweetness that helps to sweeten the tea. But really cool plants, and I don't know if I should be harvesting it right now or not because this part is the part that you use to make the tea. But also it's starting to flower, so I don't know, and I see that they're starting to flower, so I have to do some research to find out when I actually can start to harvest this hibiscus, and also the types of things I can do with the leaves, because apparently you can make tea with the leaves as well. So that is the hibiscus. And then moving over here, I have some tomatoes that are still producing. They look amazing. They're a little bit smaller because we are late in the season and their life cycle is coming to an end, but they are still producing and they still look really delicious. We did have some damage from tomato hornworms, and they devoured much of the leaves on this plant, but it is making a comeback and has started to produce more tomatoes. So I think this plant can sense that we're at the end of the season, and so it's trying hard to push out the last bit of fruit, aka produce seed, before the winter comes. So really grateful for that because that means more tomatoes for us. And then over here is my Malabar spinach that has gone to seed. These are the seed pods here. So these drop to the ground, and then in the spring they'll sprout on their own and grow. In fact, I did not have to plant not one Malabar spinach seed this year because I had them growing in the same area last year, and this is what happened. They went to seed, the seeds dropped into the soil, and then they just started to come up. So it's a heat tolerant spinach, so this will grow well into the summer, unlike typical spinach, which is a cool weather crop, so you want to grow that in the fall or in the spring, and then it dies back and goes to seed when it gets too hot. But the Malabar spinach does not do that, so that's why I like growing this as well. And then we have another leaning tower of hibiscus flower here. super windy, and that's why they're all falling over. I probably should have staked them up, but I honestly did not know that they can get this tall. Over here is our compost pile that has all types of things growing in it. In fact, I see what looks like a potato. I see a bunch of papaya plants that are definitely tropical fruits. So if I want any of these to survive the winter, I will likely have to dig it up from the soil and put it into a pot and keep it indoors for the winter, and then bring it back out when it gets warm again. Oh, this is a really big one right here. But it's amazing how the seeds that we don't plant intentionally, that we just kind of throw in here as compost, they just grow amazingly. And then this over here looks like a avocado, I believe. This one as well. And oh, I see a really huge papaya plant right here. That's pretty amazing. And then we've got what looks like a turmeric plant. I don't think this is a banana. It looks a little different from a banana plant because the stem is not as rounded. It's flat like turmeric. So I'm pretty sure this is a turmeric plant, which is so funny because I planted turmeric all in between my ginger that I had over there that I showed earlier in the video, and all of my turmeric, I guess, rotted because none of it came up. But of course, some little piece of turmeric ended up in this compost pile and then just decided to grow into this huge plant with absolutely no help from me. So sometimes the best plants and the best crops come from the ones that just seed themselves and grow themselves. So funny. So I'm gonna have to dig this up eventually and confirm that that is turmeric. That would be pretty cool. I've never grown turmeric before, so I'm really excited to see how that looks. I assume it probably looks very similar to ginger. Coming over this way, go through the forest of hibiscus. We've got some goji berries. Goji berries coming on here. These are kind of done. We've harvested a lot from these. They're very small fruit, and they turn fully red when they're ripe. These ones are all a little bit discolorated because the plant is pretty much done. To me, they're a little bit bitter, and they also have a bit of a pepper, kind of like a green pepper, but they also have a little bit of sweetness. Very interesting flavor. I've only had dried goji berries, so I've never grown them fresh, and to me, they taste so differently when they're fresh. But they are so good for you. But I think it kind of depends on your taste buds, because to some people they can taste bitter, and some people they just taste sweet. But goji berries are so good for you. They are anti-cancer, anti-aging, and they also improve your immune system. So really great plant to have. Even though they're so small, they definitely pack a punch because these are considered like a superfood. So those are the goji berries. This is where I threw down a bunch of lettuce seeds that are coming up. So hopefully I'm able to get a little bit of lettuce from this area. And look at this huge, thick stem from my squash plant. It looks like a little tree. And the amazing thing is that this squash plant is still producing squash even though we are in like mid-fall. It is still producing squash. I think that having these wood chips is creating a nice microclimate and really extending the life of my plants because of the warmth in the soil. And so that is why I have squash plants still producing new squash even though we are in November now. And most of the squash on this plant has already fully matured, and I either harvested it or just left it on the plant to continue to pull sugars from the plant and ripen as much as it possibly can before we have a frost. So this is what most of my squash looks like right now. So the fact that we have little green new squashes coming on these, I definitely attribute that to all of these wood chips that are adding moisture and nutrients to the soil. Most of all, providing a microclimate to extend the life of the plants. Here's my pot of potatoes that I may harvest soon. They still look pretty good, still growing well. And I'm curious of how they're going to look because these were potatoes that I bought from the store. And I just wanted to plant something in here because my carrots didn't do that well. As you can see, we still have a few carrots in here that are looking like they're taking off now finally. But this was full of carrots at one point, but because I wasn't adequately watering, most of them dried out. So I just planted some potatoes from the store that had sprouted. And I actually have a video on that. So if you check out my video called Growing Potatoes from the Grocery Store, you can see how I planted these and kind of follow the whole process. But look forward to harvesting that potato. And then also, even though my carrots didn't do that well in the pots, I still have carrots elsewhere in the garden that are doing really, really well. And that is in my 3x6 raised bed, which I wanted to dedicate this whole bed to strawberries, which is why I planted strawberry starts here. But I did throw some carrots in this raised bed and they're looking so good. You can actually get a little sneak peek of what they look like if you just brush the soil back a little bit. I also do this when I want to see if I should harvest them, because once they get to like a quarter size at the base here, then I know that I can harvest it. Or maybe a little larger than the quarter size. Like this one I would wait for it to get a little wider and then I'll harvest it. So when you push the soil back, you can kind of get a gauge how big the carrot is and decide if you want to harvest it. But carrots can really be harvested at any time. They're ripe and edible at this stage, but if you leave them in longer, they will get larger and also sweeter as it gets cooler in the season. They are forming well, and like I said, this was dedicated to strawberries, which as you can see I planted all throughout the bed. But this is a very important stage for strawberry plants because this green leafy growth allows them to perform photosynthesis and grab as many sugars and nutrients as they need to store in their roots so that they can survive the winter, because these green leaves will completely die back and all of that energy will be stored in the roots of these strawberries. And then in the springtime, that energy and those nutrients will be utilized to make them sprout again and grow leaves and then grow flowers and then strawberries. So the way that I propagated these